time I let you go, I made the mistake of writing your name on my heart, 'cause you cut the show, but it was too late. You left me stained, called it art. Do you crave control? I've been your dog that you poke for fun too long, so you should go. Don't look back, I won't come back, can't do that no more. Go get your praise from someone else. You did a number on my health. My world is brighter by yourself, and I can do better, do better. You and I was swaying on the ropes. I found my footing on my own. I'm A-OK, I'm good as gold, and I can do better, do better. There ain't no love round here. I loved you once, but it made me dumb. Now I'm seeing it way too clear. You hurt me numb, and for that I've run out of time to have pain to feel. I've been your game, just taking the blame too long. Yet I'm out of here. Don't look back, I won't come back, can't do that no more. Go get your praise from someone else. You did a number on my health. My world is brighter by yourself, and I can do better, do better. You and I was swaying on the ropes. I found my footing on my own. I'm A-OK, I'm good as gold, and I can do better, do better alone. Don't you know that you're bad for me? I gotta trust my lonely. Don't you know that you're bad for me? I gotta trust my lonely. Don't you know you're no good for me? I gotta trust my lonely. Don't you know you're no good for me? I gotta trust my lonely. Go get your praise from someone else. You did a number on my health. My world is brighter by yourself, and I can do better, do better. You and I was swaying on the ropes. I found my footing on my own. I'm A-OK, I'm good as gold, and I can do better, do. Don't you know that you're bad for me? I gotta trust my lonely. Don't you know that you're bad for me? I gotta trust my lonely. Don't you know you're no good for me? I gotta trust my lonely. Don't you know you're no good for me? I gotta trust my lonely.
You know I want you. It's not a secret I tried to hide. You know you want me. So don't keep saying our hands are tied. You claim it's not in the cards, and fate is pulling you miles away. And
Hello, everyone. Yeah, go on. Yeah, do it louder. Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Ren Alessandra. I'm the 2020 Australian Poetry Slam champion. Tonight, thank you very much. Tonight, we are here, this is a mouthful. We are here for the 2022 Australian Poetry Slam Championship Victorian State Final at the State Library of Victoria. Yes. Amazing. Thank you so much for braving the weather out there and coming out to this show tonight. This art form is so important. It is the original art form. It is just the best way for people to show up for themselves and to advocate for their voices and to tell their stories. And so before we begin tonight, I would like to acknowledge that we are on stolen land. Tonight we gather on the stolen land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to all elders past and present and thank them for the origin of spoken word, for all the stories that we have heard and for everything we are yet to learn. Amazing. Who's ready for some poetry? Cool. This moment is a really big deal, and I'm feeling it in my body, I'm feeling it in my chest, and it's because we have spent so long online celebrating this art form, pushing to get people's voices heard, and to be here tonight in the State Library is such a joy because we haven't been able to do that for the past couple of years. So please, let's give it up for the poets tonight because this is really special. This is so special. Yep. Amazing. All right, so I want to get a show of hands. Who has never been to a poetry slam before? Amazing, welcome. I can't wait. So this is the way it goes. A poet will have 2 minutes to perform a piece of spoken word that's totally original. Okay, so there's no music, there's no props, there's no costumes, it's just them, the mic, and their voice. They've got 2 minutes. For every 30 seconds that they go over that 2-minute mark, they will lose a point. And the way that we find out the points is I'm going to choose some judges in the crowd. I'm going to get those lollies in a minute. I really hope I opened that bag of Minties, but we'll find out. I'm going to open that bag of Minties, throw some out into the crowd, and if you catch it, you're judging. And the way that it's going to go is our beautiful staff here at the library are going to hand out these clipboards with whiteboard markers, and we score from 0.1, don't be an asshole, 0.1 all the way to a 10.0. So it might look like a 7.5, an 8.9, a 6.4 if you're not that nice. And then I'm going to ask you to hold your scores up at the end of the performance, and then we will tally them up. And the lovely Michael over here is going to be our beautiful scorekeeper and timekeeper. Give it up for Michael because it's a big job. It's a huge job. Now, like I said, the poet has 2 minutes to perform, which means that at 1 minute 50, you're going to hear this sound. Can we get a little example? Beautiful. So that's the 10-second mark, or the 1 minute 50 mark, for the poet to know, all right, I got 10 seconds to wrap this up. And then at 2 minutes again, perfect. And that's to let us know the time is up. You don't have to worry about the scores. You don't have to worry about any of that. We've got a lovely little system set up, and we're going to take care of all of that. But what happens is the highest amount of points that a poet can score is out of 30, which means that the top and the bottom score of the 5 are going to be dropped. And that's to account for any bias. There might be some lovers in the crowd. There might be some not so much lovers in the crowd. And so we need to be mindful that we are catering to that kind of situation. So you'll hold your scores up, and yeah, out of 10. Now, keep in mind that there's this thing called score creep. And the way that we get through that is with a sacrificial poet. And I'm going to get to that in a moment, but score creep is this thing that happens that at the beginning, the judges they're very strict. You really want to make sure that you're getting it right. And so you're scoring like a 6.4, 6.5, And then as the night goes on, you're like, oh my gosh, everyone's so good. And then everything starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and so do your scores. So the way that we avoid score creep is by introducing a sacrificial poet who is going to be a very special guest this evening. Where are you, Mash? Where's Mash? Up the back. Hello, darling. All right, so you're going to be our sacrificial poet in a moment, but we need to find out our judges. Are you ready? Are you ready to see if I've actually opened up? Is this Minty bag open? We'll find out. All right, so if I throw it out and you catch it, you're in. All right? Are we ready? Oh, well done. Put your hands up. Come on. Woo! There's one. Oh, yep, you're the judge. Oh, there you go. 4, and I'm going to go right up the back. Oh! There's a young folk over there that really wants to judge, so if you want to take it, you're very welcome to. Give it up for the judges because they're in for a night. Now, before we welcome our sacrificial poet on stage, I'd like to share that tonight, the top 2 that win tonight are going to go on to obviously represent Victoria at the national final at the National Australian Poetry Slam Championship in Sydney on October the 23rd, which is super exciting. But what's even more exciting is the prize. So this year, the top 2 poets are actually going to win flights and accommodation to support their trip all the way to Sydney and to just give them the best experience ever, which is so cool. It's so cool. Amazing. I think I've covered everything. Actually, no, it's a two-round slam, folks, which means we're going to have one round of poets performing, then we'll have a break. Then after that, I'm going to be your icebreaker and do a little performance for you. And then we will announce the top 5 that go through. They will be told earlier. And then we're going to have the second round. And then we'll have Matt come on and perform again for us and do a little spruik for his Fringe show, which is sold out, by the way. So go, Matt. And so, yeah. Are we ready for it? Absolutely. So, let's welcome our sacrificial poet all the way to the stage. Yeah, go on.
Now, this is called Metropolis for reasons you'll realise when I read the first sentence. When I was young, I built a metropolis, a sprawling cityscape with a welcoming populace. I scavenged for Lego, for cardboard and glue, and out of the ground this new world grew. The pieces didn't technically fit together. There was a lot of blue tack thrown in for good measure, and altogether they did their job to transform some shoddily drawn figures into a community. And in my naivety, the ideality of this space meant that everybody had a place. There wasn't a privileged area or group still mending from history's error. No matter your race, creed or orientation, your gender or even your original nation, everyone was equal and able to have a seat at this table. But as I grew up, things started to shift. The real world moved in and started causing some rifts. All the strong Lego moved to the top of the hill, leaving flimsy paper towns to foot the bill. The hilltoppers built their own Parliament House, a place that was meant to protect all from droughts of equality, that would pit you against me and draw a schism through our society. But in fact, it did the complete opposite. It turned my metropolis into a monopolist, pulling the people away from the moderate and protecting self-interest of the conglomerate. This perspective down the side of hill bled to the ragtag crumbling houses instead, turning neighbours and friends from important lifelines to a new destructive focus on whether that was mine. Rather than working together against cause, the people divided and started their wars, missing what was happening just up the hill where their futures were solved for not even a mill. But amongst all the fighting, there was a single voice that saw all of this was just a choice. The more people they told, it broke the spell, revealing the truth to a bigger groundswell that life could be better. The exclusion and division weren't something to weather, that caring about all could be the red letter day, that there was a new way. And so the new fight began today. That original world was something we all saw when we were young and tradition hadn't yet roared, removing the memory of what we had seen and allowing us to settle for what had always been. But now the power's in my hands, in our hands, to reshape what's around us to a new plan. So the kids of the future are not only free, but that original world they see, that's their reality. Thank you.
So, folks, that's the kind of thing that you're in for tonight. So, judges, have a think. How would you score that poem? Are you going to judge the way that he performed it with his body? Are you going to judge the way that he crafted that so lyrically? There was so much internal rhyme in there. I was like, oh, what is this? This is delicious. So, poets, I'd ask for you to put those scores up nice and big on that piece of paper. You can use the whole piece of paper. Did I say poets? I mean judges. So, judges, please hold your scores up for your benchmark poetry score for the evening. We've got an 8.7, we've got an 8.5, we've got a 7.5 and an 8.0. Give it up for Matt. Amazing. So judges, that poem is your benchmark. Did I say judges that time? So judges, that is your benchmark for your scoring tonight. So, are you ready to get this night underway? I think so. All right. Is this like a Top Gun thing? Yeah. A very snazzy hat, and we are going to take the names one at a time. We don't know who's coming, but we're going to applaud them all the way to the stage because competing first is a very big feat. So let's give it up for the very first poet of the night, Aloma Davis.
Big shout out to my little boy who is here at his first slam and who has never seen his mother perform before. All right. An angel's wing, splayed in flight, is etched in soft fog on my windscreen. It's the imprint of a pigeon's fatal flap before death. Neither of us saw it coming. Not me, blithely belting out show tunes down the freeway. Not it, idly fluffing its feathers on a good seed day. up ahead, in the distance, it looked like a dead bird on the road. Oh, how sad, I thought. Oh well. But I'd guessed wrong, and oh horror, alive! It flapped up before me, in my face, thud! And it was a cloud of feathers in my rear view. Now, what struck me at that moment, beside the bird, was the realization of how much easier it was to move on when it was objective, impersonal, and how much harder it was now that it was subjective, personal, even though it was the same bird and the same death. But you have to move on, I told myself, and so I literally moved on at 100 k's an hour. But the thing I've realised since is that there is that same curious aside as they tell you that someone has died. Because someone unexpected has phoned. Oh, hello, you say, and you're trying to remember, maybe you've forgotten something, but then you notice their tone. Oh, you think, they're having a bad day, something's gone wrong in their world. But you've guessed wrong, and the horror is flying up in your face, in your ear, thud, and it's over. On the phone, they're still talking, but it's just a cloud of feathers in your rear view. You are thinking at 100 k's an hour, but at the same time, you're also frozen, like that splayed wing, unable to turn back in time.
Thank you so much, Aloma. Give it up for the first poet of the night, because that's a thing. That's a thing. Amazing. All right, judges, I'll give you a moment. You've got to get those scores down, and I'm going to get you to lift them in 3, 2, 1. We have an 8.5, we have an 8.8, an 8.7, a 7.2, and an 8.5. Give it up for Aloma. Hey, Michael, did I go too fast? You're 11? Oh, legend. All right, fantastic. So, folks, I didn't share something with you. I was a little bit presumptuous. I just assumed everybody would know what this is. Give us some of these. Go on. Ooh, delicious. So this is the Poetry World's way of letting you know that we like what you've got going on. All right? So when a poet is sharing their art with you, if they drop a line, if they say something that just makes you like, oh, I get it, then do this. There were a couple happening for Aloma, but I know that there would have been more if I'd told you earlier, so I'm sorry, love. But this is the way that we let everybody know. So yeah, get your clicks ready. I hope your fingers hurt at the end because it's worth it. So I know Felicia would like that line. All right, so let's give it up for the next poet of the night, Lydia.
I think a lot of people practice art in the same way that they live life, with invisible chains wrapping around them and squeezing all the courage they have right out of their chest. There are dozens of lines for stories that I have caught in a steel trap of nerves that I will never see written because I am too scared of not writing them correctly. I think too hard about how to pull them into existence and never mark a word. I will never play some of the pieces that I love, which decorated my childhood in sweeping waves of majors and minors, because I cannot convince myself past the worry of missing notes or botching a phrase, of somehow staining those butter sunshine memories of road trips spent belting out lyrics to a song that I hardly knew the meaning of and blotting them out of existence. I have a friend who is an artist. She draws her characters as an escape from her stress, hiding amongst the layers and color palettes, waiting for her demons to forget that she's there. She writes them into existence in the meanwhile of waiting for her world to fall apart, making sure to build new worlds along the way, worlds where she can let herself fall from the sky, let herself dream of flying, without having to ask for the room to breathe. Hidden amongst the folds of those infinite worlds is a beauty that stares me in the face every time I see it, because she leaves a bit of her soul in each of those worlds. Sometimes I wonder if she even knows, and that's why she guards her art like a dragon's hoard, only allowing passage passage to those who already know, who have already seen her in all of her cracked and glittering beauty. I envy her the bravery that rages like a wildfire in her chest, where in mine there is only silence. Have you ever been trapped in a race that you cannot win, with no end in sight except for letting imperfect things fall out of your mind and into the ears of others, letting malformed thoughts blot ink into pages, of breaking those invisible chains and letting your soul stain the world with its imperfections? This is writing, is drawing, is creating anything that you need to be unapologetically yourself for. There is a level of heartache in cracking yourself open and bearing all that you are, even if the only person who sees it is you.
Thank you so much, Lydia. Beautiful, beautiful art. All right, judges, get those scores down. Oh, it's such a joy to see people telling stories and judging them. Oh, interesting. All right, judges, 3, 2, 1. We've got a 7.9. I can't read the one up the back, forgive me. A 7.8, an 8.2, an 8.2, and a 7. Woo! Give it up for Lydia. Let's keep it moving, shall we? Oh, let's welcome all the way to the stage, Harpreet.
I ache for the touch of your lips, dear, more for the touch of your quips, dear. Quips that quickly turn into firecrackers held close to my skin, igniting my heart aflame and my skin ablaze. I've always had a connection to you, sitting at the hyphen of give and up, sitting there quietly. She is not the solution to a temporary problem, but these problems are oh so rarely temporary. It is the quiet end of a fever dream. It is the smell the box of all my bad decisions makes. It is finding comfort in picking away the scabs of my trust, embracing her to finally fall asleep after years of insomnia. Suicide is the mistress that tempts one person every 40 seconds. By the end of this poem, she'd have already claimed 4 of us. She's already claimed me. Loving the way she gently pricks knives into my back, the way she presses cigarette butts against my naked skin, akin to the way she breaks my bones, swearing it was for my own good. How she isolates me from everyone could hurt me. Key word, everyone. One monochrome kiss ended my insomniac night. Our love was a flame, not an ember. It was me that you did dismember. However, this flame melted the wax boy hidden amidst a plated paper mache, blurring lines between romance and love, the million I love you spoke in fear of the pain, to remain sane, to stay chained, to not succumb to life, so I let her take my life. Always a slave to one master, etching out initials on tombstones, dancing the tango to escape me. This mistress never freed me. Management switching, the night she killed me, I wanted life to unkill me. In the end, this tango made me fall in love again. The moment after she stole me, I fell in love with life.
I love a love poem. Oh, thank you, Harpreet. All right, folks, let's get those scores up in 3, 2, 1. We've got an 8. We've got a 9. We've got an 8.4, a 7.5, and a 8. What is it? 7.7. A 7.7. Give it up for Harpreet. How you going there, Michael? All right, let's get on with it. Let's welcome all the way to the stage, Raghav. Yes!
It's not part of the poem.
I got you. What do you need?
Just a bit more of it. Oh, no, actually, this works. Thank you.
Feel good?
Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah, mate.
So, like, the name of the poem is first, From the Point of a Boomer. The hypocrisy in Gen Z. You portray a villainous picture of us, like you're the good guys fighting the problem, and then there's us. Truth be told, I understand the problems which will unfold. Heck, I know them tenfold. These CO2 emissions now aren't something to be kidding about. People crying and begging for mercy over floods occurring throughout the seas. Yet, all of these politicians are acting like clowns, trying to get the crown whilst the world is burning down. So don't attack me or act like you're better. Money can persuade all of you. I mean, look at Greta. I agree we've lost sight of what is truly right. But your designer clothes, boba tea, Muji notes, clothes that get chucked away in a day just to fit that crave, are all contributing in a way that a lot of people seem to look away. Whilst all these politicians are acting like clowns, it's for you to put the foot down. Not by yelling or complaining at them, because face it, they're not ready to listen now or then. So what can you do? Start small. Maybe don't drive your car at all. Start up the air conditioning. The new iPhone or whatever doesn't mean anything. TVs in every room? Really, schools? Single-use plastic racking up can be avoided by just picking up. Don't injure the planet just to keep up with the latest fad. You don't need to start a protest to do this. I know it's not what you call noble or glamorous, but these small things can truly mean everything. Well, if some of that sounds like a lot, maybe you should think about the passion you actually have than the one which you preach. Thank you.
The thing I love about spoken word is that it gives space for all of our voices. And I wish I found it when I was a teenager, because we have a couple of teenagers in the crew tonight, and that astounds me. Absolutely astounding. So proud of you. All right, judges, get those scores up. In 3, 2, 1. We've got a 7.5, a 7.6. I really can't read the back one, forgive me. A 9.7 and an 8.0. Oh, I wish I could read that. 6.3. Give it up for Raghav. All right. The next poet on the stage is the lovely Katie. Something's coming. The butterflies of anticipation are heavy and weigh me down. I look up to the sky with admiration, and my mind conjures up more than one explanation as to why I feel this fascination. A chilling breeze licks my face, and I am thrown through time and space. I see Mercury in decline. I can see Earth, she's dying. It's time. Now I stand here in my prime, trying to shine, hoping to find a solution. Will we find absolution? Hard to say, I can't see through all this pollution. The butterflies wiggle and take flight, lifting me with all their might. They want to take me far away because they know I'm calling Mayday. They know that change won't happen today or tomorrow or so on before we stand tall in revolution and demand constitution for resolution. How's that for elocution? What comes next is important, so I will put it eloquently, although maybe not so wholesome. This is all our fucking problem. It is not a request, but this is me begging, pleading externally. And so I open my mouth, and these butterflies pour up and out. I let them go free because they are them and I am me. And if there are no butterflies left floating free through
velvet gardens of green, then what kind of world would this be to even see? Not one for me. Yeah, something's coming, and I am committed and not at all restricted. My mind's been clouded, but my feet now grounded. I brace myself for a fight. Something's coming all right. My stomach is twisted in knots, and I worked myself up to quite a height. It happens sometimes, it's true. Do you do that sometimes too? Maybe I'd better skip to the loo.
Thank you so much, Katie. Oh, all right, judges. 3, 2, 1. We've got an 8.3, an 8.0, a 9.0. That's the last score. 6.5 higher, and the last one up the back. Oh, hang on. Is that an 8.5? That's an 8.5. Give it up for Katie. Next up, Felicie Malay.
For the ones we've lost and the ones still fighting. Sometimes a battle cry can sound more like a weep, because a warrior has been slain without her even knowing she was a warrior in the first place. And what girl knows that? Between the braiding of hair and the smashing of the patriarchy, what girl wakes up knowing she is a warrior? What girl realizes that her very existence is a battle cry in a hollow landscape of untold truths and unwhispered secrets? What girl realizes that she is more than just emotions and expectations, that the very act of her opening her voice, speaking her needs, is the raising of a sword in a battle that we did not sign up for, in a fight that we did not want, in a role that we have been told to play for centuries? What girl wakes up knowing she is a warrior? That every full-bodied breath is an act of defiance, an act of reclaiming a body that was stolen before she was even born, because it's only in these moments when we are silenced by the unimaginable grief of having yet another limb ripped away from the body of our being, when the dust is settling on the grave of another fallen woman who was reminded of her place in a society which insists we are equal. It is only in these moments that it is undeniably clear that we are warriors. And our very existence is a battle cry in a hollow landscape of untold truths and unwhispered secrets, and we cannot afford to be silent any longer, even if today all we can do is weep.
Go on, judges. 3, 2, 1. We've got an 8.9, a 9.3, an 8.8, an 8.5. Good thing that one's getting dropped. Woo! Give it up for Felicie. Let's keep it moving. Also, I'm very appreciative of the consistent clapping. Like, I'm really, really grateful for that, because they're going to hurt later. Oh, thanks. Oh, thank you. Oh, I loved that. That was really nice. All right, let's give it up for the lovely Gabrielle.
A therapist told me I have a perfectionist tendency. So they sent me off to someone who specialised in OCD, but I didn't click lights or count cracks compulsively. So when they said they weren't the right fit for me, all I heard was, you couldn't even be a perfectionist perfectly. I lied to the next therapist to convince her I was getting better and A+ in self-help because I'm a go-getter. But it hurt me a little when she didn't even notice that fake laughs and smiles were my magnum opus. At university, I know P's get degrees, but unfortunately, that wasn't me. I read my work over 23 times until the words no longer felt like mine and it was 2 weeks past the submission deadline. I reworked my lines, critiqued and correct. I couldn't stop until it was perfect. The disability advisor couldn't figure out why our closed-door conversations were nullified. My execution so immaculate that even he forgot I presented well even when I was not. When he scolded me for my still slipping grades, I sat perfectly still and just obeyed, like when he gifted me a USB of favourite music he'd made. I already knew I needed to be better. That's why I obsessed over every single letter. I read and reread every damn detail. I knew exactly how my life would derail, but it still wasn't perfect. I had already failed. My advisors warned me not to quit. Gabby, if you drop out, you will regret it. I never went back and haven't still to this day the shame of imperfection in my way. So I poured my energy into finally being okay with a life that's lived in perfect disarray.
Something I love about spoken word is that when poets get on this stage, they share a part of themselves that sometimes ends up being the words to something that you didn't realise that you were looking for. And you just did something very important for me. Thank you so much, Gabrielle. All right, poets. All right, judges. I keep doing that. Judges, do you want to come up here and perform? No? Okay. Judges, get those scores up in 3, 2, 1. We've got an 8.3, a 9.0, a 7.5, an 8.2, and a 7.2. Give it up for Gabrielle. So this is the penultimate, but I was going to say Ren ultimate, and I really should have just stuck with it. I know Felice will be proud of my pun there. Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. All right, so for the Ren Ultimate Poet for this round, give it up for Paul.
Hi, my name's Paul. I'm 6 foot tall and 93 years old. I'm not too good with numbers, if the truth of it be told. But words, they're my long suit, my obsession and delight, like vituperate and bumcrack, and others less polite. So it's really quite exciting to be stood in front of yous and beguile you and bewitch you with the fancy words I choose. But first, I've had a real tough life with not much luck at all. And my home is just a plastic bag beside a car park wall. And food, well, it's a rarity. I don't get much to eat. Just leaves and dirt and tree bark and a bread crust for a treat. So this is my big chance to get ahead in life for fame and maybe fortune and even perhaps a wife. So judges, no real pressure, but you really need to see the impact of your marking on a poor old man like me. If you mark me up tonight, my life will really change. There'll be instant recognition, which will feel a little strange. There'll be people wanting autographs when they see me walking past, on their hats and on their T-shirts, and sometimes on their arse. And I'll sign them all quite happily. I'll only charge a bit, maybe extra for the arses, just in case they smell of shit. And comparisons with Keats and Shelley, Shakespeare and the rest will lead to fierce debates about which one of us is best. And I thought that I might meet the Queen, that was my biggest thing, but then she went and carked it, so I'll just have to settle for the King. And I'll have money for all sorts of things, like a blanket for my bed and underwear and bog rolls and some butter for my bread. And women, they'll be queuing up to share my plastic bag, which may be fun. I wouldn't know. I've never had a shag. So, judges, please look after me, and I'll make sure you're all right. I'll see you in the back room later on tonight. Okay, sorry, but my time is up. I really have to go. And anyway, I've wet myself. I'm 93, you know.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. All right, so I know who it is. You don't know who it is. So let's get a drum roll with the feet for the last poet of the round. Oh, shivers. I knew I would do that. All right. I'll try that again in a moment. Hey, I love how you're like, hey, you, do your job. All right, judges, get those scores up in 3, 2, 1. We've got a 7.5, an 8.5, a 7.2, a 9.5, and a 9.9. All right, I'm just going to do a little reset. So I know who the last poet is, but you don't, so let's get a drum roll with the feet. Yes, let's give it up for Peter.
I once wrote a book called The True Adventures of Mudpoo. That's what I do. I write books. I get some weird looks, but kids loved it, so I was okay. Then one day, whilst I was working as a microbiologist, without being an apologist, I wrote Mudpoo and the Secret of the Rainforest. In it, there's a real secret formula to make stuff that can stop cows burping and farting methane. Climate change is real. We need to change and rearrange what we do. It's all about our technology and biodiversity and sustainability and saving the rainforest trees, the eagles, the fungi, the spiders, the birds and the bees. Kids and animals working out solutions to the pollution, for the confusion caused by us, silly, egotistical, greedy, old adults. Because it's our grandkids and their great-grandkids and their great-great-grandkids. They will see and live their life on how we treat our planet today. They want to enjoy fresh air, not live in despair. You see, one cow's methane output in 1 year is equal to the CO2 output from a car. And as a microbiologist, that's one step too far. A friend of mine laughed and said, if cows burping and farting methane caused climate change, then dinosaurs would have rearranged the ozone and we'd all be dead years ago. I thought. I've not seen many dinosaurs about today, but come to think in Parliament, there's a few who stay. They're the ones who request burning coal, and making money is their only goal. Back to my book. Take a look. A young boy and a girl, a talking dog, some eagles, and some clever animals saved the rainforest in Sumatra from being destroyed with clever ideas they employed. And what about the dairy cows who burp and fart? In Queensland, there is a real Professor Dart. He's got our secret formula and he needs a funding deal. Sounds insane. We're going to be to blame. If his research and my book can achieve our aim, we can be the solution to the pollution that can help prevent dairy cows from burping and farting methane.
What I loved about that was the rushing at the end, Peter. Felt like, you know, when you're at uni and you're trying to get the word count, you smashed it. So good. Yes, you did make it. Well done. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of the first round of tonight. Give it up for our poets because... Yes. Judges. Please get your scores up in 3, 2, 1. We've got a 7.6, a 7.4, a 9.0, a 7.7, and an 6.4. Okay, wow, give it up for Peter. All right, folks. So, like I said, that brings us to the end of this round. We're going to take a 15-minute break. 15 minutes, come back, and we will get on with the second part of the night. Can't wait. Woo!
Don't you ever leave me, don't you ever go. I'm sitting on TV, I know how it goes. Even when you're angry, even when I'm cold. Don't you ever leave me, don't leave me alone. Don't you ever leave me, don't you ever go. I'm sitting on TV, I know how it goes. Even when you're angry, even when I'm cold. Don't you ever leave me, don't leave me alone. Even when you're angry, even when I'm cold. Don't you ever leave me, don't leave me alone. I can't lie, I'm scared to open my eyes. 'Cause what if I find nothing at all, nothing at all? What is the point of my lips if they don't make noise? What is the point of doing nothing at all? Watching it fall, the flicker burning. You know the time is running, running out. Only I see, oh, the diamonds, diamonds breaking down. I won't stay quiet, I won't stay quiet. 'Cause staying in silence the same as dying. I won't stay quiet, the flicker's burning now. This is not a swan song. This is not a swan song. We just gotta hold on tonight. This is not a swan song, swan dive. Yeah, it's a new life, real fantasy. Wishing it was make believe. What is the reason of doing nothing at all? Watching it fall, the flicker burning. You know the time is running, running out. Only I see, oh, the diamonds, diamonds breaking down. I won't stay quiet, I won't stay quiet. 'Cause stay in silence the same as dying. I won't stay quiet, the flicker's burning now. This is not a swan song. This is not a swan song. We just gotta hold on tonight. This is not a swan song, swan dive. Yeah, it's a new life. This is not a swan song. This is not a swan song. We just gotta hold on tonight. This is not a swan song, swan dive. Yeah, it's a new life. It's a new life. It's a new life.
I found a love for me. Darling, just dive right follow my lead. Well, I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. Well, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me. 'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. Darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes you're holding mine. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dreams. I hope that someday I'll share her home. I found a love to carry more than just my secrets, to carry love, to carry children of our own. We are still kids, but we're so in love, fighting against all odds. I know we'll be alright this time. Darling, just hold my hand, be my girl, I'll be your man. I see my future in your eyes. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. When I saw you in that dress, looking so beautiful, I don't deserve this. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, or listening to our favorite song. I have faith in what I see. Now I know I have met an angel in
Even though we both know we're liars and we start each other's fires, we just know that we'll be alright. Even though we kicked out the party cause we both hate everybody, we're the ones they wanna be like. So don't let me down, keep me in trouble, born to be wild, out in the jungle. And I don't wanna be somebody without your body close to me. And if it wasn't you, I wouldn't want anybody close to me. 'Cause I renounce
too close for comfort. I had to cut my off, she being stubborn. I make it known I'm with you, not undercover. And when I jump in, I'm burning rubber. Iced out body, didn't go to college. Price tag popping, then you on the private. Don't say sorry, everyone's watching. When you're where I am, everything's timeless.
And I don't wanna be somebody without your body close to me. And if it wasn't you, I wouldn't want anybody close to me. 'Cause I'm an animal, like you. And I don't wanna be somebody without your body close to me. Close to me. And I don't wanna be somebody without your body close to me. And if it wasn't you, I wouldn't want anybody close to me. Because I'm an animal, like you. And I don't wanna be somebody without your body close to me. Close to me. Close to me.
You got to know she won't love you back. She won't love you back like I can. She don't understand your body like I can. All she does is hold you back. Girl, we're not the same. She don't wanna get involved like me. She won't accept the faults. She'll never take the fall. All of a sudden you making a change. Can't you tell that you running that game? You should know these players gon' play. You got to know that she won't love you back, love you back.
All right, poetry lovers. We're going to get this second round underway, so I'll invite everybody to get cozy. Woohoo! Yeah, go on. Go on. Oh. I'm going to perform for you now. Yeah! Woo! Amazing. What poem am I going to do? This poem is called Our Feminism. Content warning, feminism. Our feminism looks like marble, a statue emerged from the stone. It is laced with all the traces of the system and the scars and the system that have carved these bones without our consent. Our feminism makes you uncomfortable because we care how you speak. We have expectations of you that you are scared you cannot meet. Our feminism comes in one shade, the cattiest red, and it creeps up your insides when we're not around and shapes the way you recount how we put you in your place that time you crossed our boundaries and cut us out. Our feminism is not anti-you. It is to better you, because autonomy in my world should be spelt capital R-E-N, because I said so. If you are squirming in your seat, I advise you check yourself before we do. You have quotas to meet. It is time to catch up, because we are tired of thinking about the things that we're all talking about bettering when you do not make choices that lift us up. Have you ever told a woman that her period is beautiful? A reminder of who brings life, who brought yours? Have you kept our bodies safe and warm when they have been shared with you? They have not been gifts. Do not get worth confused. It will not fly here. Our feminism knows it is hard for all of us. Storm, cloud, skies, synonymous with patriarchy. We know it hurts you too, because the things in you that you see in us but continue to deny yourself only lengthens the chasm between imbalance and a new kind of Zen state, of total connection and a dissolve of the distance. Our feminism is the ride to our joy, the vehicle to equality, where we use words freely like consent, contraception, abortion, emotion, financial fucking freedom. So do not argue until you know each of those words. Understand how these conversations in motion help us thrive, but now we're silenced by them. Understand their definition. We have no future without them. Thank you. Oh. I just got a 9.5. Oh. I'll take that. I'll give the other 5.5 to myself, no worries. So, are we ready to kick off the second round of tonight? All right, before we get into it, I'm going to let the audience find out one at a time who is in our top 5. Yeah, I'm mixing that up a bit. But I'm also going to let you know that we've had a few contentious scores in the audience tonight, and I know that you agree. So if you don't like a score and you think that poet deserved more, what are you going to do? That's right. We want the poets to know we've got their back, because you've got their back, because I know you do, because you've been clapping non-stop, and it is so good. So thank you so much. That's really nice. Thank you. So let's kick off this second round, and I wish all the poets the very best of luck. And in the end, the winner is always poetry. So, the very first poet is, let's applaud all the way to the stage, the wonderful Aloma.
I'm just lucky tonight. All right.
Thank you.
Now, stories usually start in the beginning, but you have arrived just in time for the middle. I'd say, let's begin, but we're past that bit. Her husband is in their shared study. Yes, she's married, catch up. But We missed the romantic beginning, and now they're at the stage where she's just happy to find him bemusing and hygienic, so we'll move on. And her son is watching TV. Now she's hoping for a happy ending for him, but it's his beginning. So at the moment she's just feeding and clothing and loving him and waiting for his plot to thicken. Now she's going back to work tomorrow, to teaching, a job she loves or did 18 years ago in the beginning, so much that she put her other dreams away. But these days, the kids seem to know the stuff already because they've already seen it on Insta Talkbook. And in the beginning, they used to say, "Okay, Ms. Aloma," but now they say, "Okay, Boomer," like it's her ending already. But she knows that the good teachers, they don't teach this stuff. The best teachers, they teach children. So tomorrow she will paint on her brightest smile and she will again captain their ship through the rocky seas of the year, and she will be a lighthouse to show the way and any other mangled maritime metaphors you require until she gets them over the final exam safe and sound, and she will not take a breath until then. But tonight, in the secret compartment at the back of her mind, but actually in the kitchen, accompanied by her cats, whose middles she covets, for their middles are soft but unyielding. She will write another poem and submit it to another publication. She will write herself into another story, one that is just beginning.
Welcome to the Poetry Slam. Beautiful, Aloma. Thank you so much. All right, judges, let's get those scores up. Get those scores up. I'm glad I'm remembering the judges. 3, 2, 1. We've got an 8.1, a 9.4, a 9.2, a 9.0, and a 9.4. Yeah. Amazing. Oh. Can you tell I like this stuff? I love it. All right, let's give it up for the next poem. Felicie Malay.
Don't tell me you love her ferocity, her fire, her strength, unless you can stare down the barrel of her gun when she inevitably points it in your direction. Stand in the heat of her fire when she calls you to burn. Look into her eyes when she is raw and she is wild, and still call it strength, not weakness. When you realize that our rage isn't here for your entertainment. When you realize that our rage isn't here to make you feel better about yourself purely because it's aimed at another man. When you realize when aimed at him, it is always pointed in your direction. It is always pointed in our direction. It is always pointed at a system that puts us in the arena, feeds us to lions, makes us consumable, makes us into flesh and meat with the inconvenient substance and burden of bone. Force feeds you lies. Force feeds you shame, forces you into becoming lions, as if that's what pride means. When you can look down the barrel of her gun, stand in her fire, look into her eyes when she is raw and wild and say, yes, I am a lion and I see you as meat. But I will no longer consume what is not mine, no longer hunt what is equal to myself. I will no longer run from the responsibility of my courage, hide from the damage of my pride, no longer stand aside. My brothers are broken. I am broken too. But we will not call ourselves a pride until we have something to be truly worthy of being proud of. Well, then you can tell us about how you love our ferocity, our fire, how we shine as we transform. Then you can stand as you walk beside us, heads high, A pause landing to the sound of crumbled walls and viewing boxes, the scattered bones of a society that reminds us what it really means to have pride. Thank you.
I think we got a couple of fiery voices in the second round tonight, folks. So, judges, get those scores up. 3, 2, 1. We've got a 9.4. We've got an 8.2. I want to hear your opinions. I've got an 8.5. We've got an 8.8 and an 8.0. Applaud the poet. Without further ado, please welcome to the stage the lovely Harpreet.
Okay, that was too loud. When I was told we were created in God's image, I laughed. How can we be created in God's image when we recreate God in ours? To the bellicose Bible belters who all hate speech in his name, who bellow God hates fags. You know, I've never seen who it is you look to. Who you crusade crushing caricatures of a war for, who you shut your brain off to pray for, collapsing knees like waves crashing ashore, melting hands in reverence to spread a crusade of hate for. But I do know what he is. He wears denim trench coats and the Confederate flag. He's a politician who wants to steal another generation. I bet he has a tattoo on his wrist, racist written in caps lock. I bet he's bilingual, speaking only Latin and hate speech. I bet he still sees the indigenous as a problem, as an exoneration from swastikas etched into his skin to assimilate and eliminate any sign of intolerance to his solution to the Aboriginal problem. I bet he sees more bruises on his children's face than he sees them. For when Lucifer became a fallen angel, he jumped that height from heaven to escape his father's home. For within their God's kingdom, angels lie with broken halos and shattered ribs, claiming it was an accident. Preferring to view mirrors and photographs of himself, an immortal celebrity, he isn't my God. To the Bible belters who claim God hates fags, smoke and mirrors hide the true God you worship. He is your reflection. English lesson. Faggots are bundles of sticks. When faggots were burned at the stake, they became firewood. And within that firewood was salvation, for it was my God who could be seen within the fire when Moses discovered him. So let their God know. He stole my father's identity, but he will never destroy his kingdom.
Yes. Judges, get your scores up in 3, 2, 1. We've got an 8.3, an 8.8, higher, 8.1, and a 7.9, and a 9.0. Applaud the poet. Yeah. All right, folks. The next poet on stage tonight is the wonderful Peter. I think we got that name wrong. It's Paul, come on down.
I'm sorry that I lied to you when I was here before and told you that I'm 93 when I'm really 94. And then I said that I'd never been laid when I'm actually a bit of a whore. But you know what it's like when you get up on stage, you get a bit carried away, and what actually comes out of your mouth isn't quite what you meant to say. And of course I don't live in a plastic bag. I've got a mobile home. It's a wheelie bin that I live in. It's where I wrote this poem. And when I said that I'd wet myself, well, that was a lie as well. The truth of it is that I'd shat myself and was too embarrassed to tell. And trying to bribe the judges, well, that was way out of line, but I'm really keen to see Sydney for what may well be my very last time. Because the final's in the Opera House up in the middle of town, and if you send me there, I fucking swear that I won't let you down. I'll take them on a journey to a place they've never been, full of terror, full of laughter, and everything between. I'll amaze them with my phrasing, I'll beguile them with my style, I'll be cunning with my punning, and I'll make it so worthwhile. They'll be better for my metaphor and slightly perverse verse. They'll be twitching with my bitching till they think it can't get worse. Then I'll grab them by their knackers in a metaphoric sense and squeeze their mind balls stupid with my dexterous use of tense. I'll grasp them by the throat and I'll lift them by the hair and I'll dash them to the ground where they'll be gasping for some air. And I'll show them how my mind works and I'll wipe them on my arse. They'll be stunned and they'll be flummoxed, but they'll recognise my class. They'll be reeling with my feeling, they'll be writhing on the floor, they'll be very nearly coming like they never have before. And when they think I'm done with them, I'll tighten up the screw and turn their emotions into motions, by which I mean a poo. So judges, you're all so lovely, so good looking and so smart, with hearts of gold if the truth be told, so please give an old man a start.
Too good. Judges, let's get those scores up. 3, 2, 1. We've got an 8.0, a 7.4, a 10, a 9.9 and a 9.1. Give it up for Paul. So folks, that brings us to the very last poet of the Victorian State Final at the State Library of Victoria. So let's get that drum roll on the floor for the last poet of the night, Katie.
There it lay, beautiful fields of blues and reds, yet its sight fills me with dread. I would dare not go there, but it calls my name, and then I am there all the same, caressing velvet petals with a touch so tame. Lying unsuspectingly amongst sweetly scented flowers, a motion which sends plumes of pollen, ascending, swirling, a releasing of powers. Up it goes into the air above my hair. A deep inhalation filling me up, but with no more temptation. My head feels light, and with all my might, my fingers dig into the fresh earth surrounding me, grounding me. Inhibitions fade, nails elongate, bones break as I mutate. The ground shakes, my muscles ripple and quake. There's a familiar metallic tang as my mouth grows sharp, revealing fang after fang. I shed my fear like a snake sheds its skin. It lay in pieces at my feet discarded, yet more than ever I am guarded. All colour seeps from sight, something tears, and a mane of hair flows down around my now wicked eyes. Calculating, untrusting, they are raw and unapologetic, emulating a fierceness that initiates a stillness. Only instinctual, no more than primal. I am wild, it is visceral.
Give it up for all the poets tonight. Amazing. All right, judges, your last score for the evening in 3, 2, 1. We've got a 7.5. We've got a 7.0. We've got a 7.8. We've got an 8.4 and an 8.5. Applaud the poet. Amazing. Folks, thank you so much for being here. So while the scores are collated, we have a very special little performance by the lovely Matt Bell. Give it up. He's going to do a little thing for you.
Okay, so as Ren mentioned, I have a show in the Fringe Festival at the moment, which, thank you, is sold out. It's called Plenty of Fish, so as you would suspect, it is about dating, because unfortunately I've been single for the last 10 years. But and in that time I've been on a number of strange dates, including a guy who I maintained direct eye contact while he ate an entire plate of chicken wings. Meat and bones. There was nowhere sort of near a bedroom after that much teeth on bones. But anyway, I would like to share with you another true dating story that I have written in a slam poem. So, a trigger warning for anyone who is currently on Tinder. A while back I went on a date, and look, this was a date where I could not wait because he captivated me. And on the app he asked questions endlessly, which does not happen tremendously often. In fact, often is an understatement. Like, I thought I'd go to my coffin before I found a great gent that actually could engage in conversation. Because, look, trust me, there are not many in this nation who appreciate the creation of an exchange with duration, but this guy's ability for elongation of narration deserved an ovation, causing my palpitation that this could lead to the foundation of a relationship. Am I overthinking this a bit? No. He's just great at this chat. Is that too early to get a cat? Probably. Maybe let's just go on the date first before we dive headfirst into matters of animal co-ownership, of which I am not well versed. But I do have a membership to the RSPCA. Stop overthinking this, okay? Anyway, we decided to go to the cinema, but nothing really rhymes with cinema, so thankfully we changed to another option over text. And by this point I had well fallen under the effects of his hex, so it didn't seem complex when he suggested we skip the planned cinema duplex and just go and have coffee. So you could understand my perplex when I was sat at our cafe table first, because I rocked up like super chill and early, and he arrived with an elderly couple I overheard were called Bill and Shirley. And that's when things started to get murky, but despite all this quirky, I stayed perky because they went to another table, so things didn't seem so unstable to disable the fable I'd decided we were. They must have just been some other acquaintance, like some old work colleagues in a moment of life's strange occurrences, so I didn't think twice of this couple had quickly excised. Then in a blur, he was right there in front of me, but I didn't bring up the scene that had confronted me because I just wanted to see him chill, right? Which I'm not, but he doesn't know that still. That was a thrill for later. And then there was our waiter. But look, a bit keen, you'd think he'd have waited before approaching a scene that was clearly two people dated. So look, in a flurry, menus abound, and before I could put the menu down, I thought I might have seen my date turn around without a sound and give a thumbs up to the old couple. But when I redoubled, he was back over the menu huddled, working out if he wanted eggs or bacon, so I must have been mistaken. Anyway, I went back to focusing on the date, and the conversation was just so great, right? We covered everything from small talk to things that had weight, from our favourite streaming service to what's happening in the Gaza Strait. I know I can cover the whole slate. And then out of nowhere, he went deeper. I think he was trying to see if I was a keeper, because straight out of the gate, he asked if I wanted to be a dad, which is not a thought I've really had, but I said I was open to the possibility, which I think he took as a sign of virility. Not that kind of virility. Virility for the capability of us to be together long term. And I felt like he was starting to squirm, but I got distracted by the return of our waiter, arguably with a sense of timing that was greater, when out of the corner of my eye, I swear I saw him, my date, reveal a not-so-small grin in the direction of Shirley and Bill. And regardless of how I was trying to be chill, after I ordered some pancakes, I had to grill him, not the pancakes, on what the smile was all about. Something was going on, I had no doubt, and maybe it could be solved with a simple explanation, and I should just ask now before my fears inflation. So I bit the bullet as I could no longer plead the fifth, and asked him who that couple was he arrived with. He said, what, you mean Bill and Shirley? Oh, sorry, we were intending to arrive much earlier than you, which didn't answer my question, but... And the way he used the word we gave the suggestion that around the corner there was going to be a confession, and then he just kept talking. And what he said next always had me balking, because I think, is it worse than stalking when he's brought his parents on a date? Yeah, my fears this did not abate, and even less so now the cat was out of the bag. He took this opportunity to signal them forward, and I felt cornered because I was stuck on a bench seat against a wall and they took a seat either side. What gall. There was no way to get out of this stall, so I had to fake a silent call before I crawled over Shirley's shawl and finally got free, running out the door immediately. But look, 6 months later, I was walking through a park when I came across a wedding and stopped with a start. I did a double take under the arch when who should be there in a shirt full of starch? It was my parent bringing date ruin in Trickster, standing there in front of a vicar about to marry the life of his love. When it dawned on me like the doves up above, this whole time, is this what I've been doing wrong? Should I have been bringing my parents on dates all along? I'm still single, if anybody's wondering, but you can hear more about that in my show, Plenty of Fish, which is sold out for Fringe Festival but is coming back for Comedy Festival. So if you want to come, follow me on @MattBellComedy. Thank you.
Mum, Dad, don't get any ideas. Thank you. All right, folks. We haven't written the names on these yet. Whoops. But that's all right, because I know the names. Are we ready to find out who the top 3 poets of this state final are? So, before I do that, little housekeeping about this. So there are 3, we are awarding 3 poets. The third one is third place. The top 2 are going to be going and representing Victoria at the national final in Sydney on October the 23rd, which is going to be awesome. And the top 2 win flights and accommodation, which is such a sick prize. So congratulations to those 2. And thank you, Word Travels. And before I announce those winners, I just want to say that this collection of poets is a very small representation of the amount of stories that we have to tell in our country. Not only do we need to learn more about the Indigenous stories of our land, but we need to hold space for all stories as well with people of colour, gender, race, age, whatever it is, we need to hold space for them, and that's why this art form is so important. Melbourne has an incredible spoken word community. I run an event called Wordcraft. It's on the 3rd Friday of every month at the Fitzroy Art Collective. Felicie hosts an incredible event called Mother Tongue. It's on the 2nd Friday of every month. Did that on purpose. So please come along. You know, there's Passionate Tongues, there's Poetry Spective, there's all of these other incredible events. There's stuff online, there's stuff in person. There are spaces for you to come and celebrate our voices. This art form is important. Please come along. It's been such a joy to have you, and we can't wait to see you again. So, without further ado, let's applaud the 3rd place for tonight, the incredible Felicie Malay. I'll get you to stand here. All right, in 2nd place, please applaud the hilarious Paul. And finally, the very first place for tonight, who is also going to be representing our state at the national final, please give it up for Aloma. These are your finalists, folks. Thank you so much. Amazing. Take your bows, take your bows, take your bows. Amazing. Folks, thank you so much. Before I send you off for this evening, not only are these poets incredible artists, but incredible people, and it's such an honour to be able to send them through representing our state. But I want to thank Word Travels, who are the organisation that run the Australian Poetry Slam Championship and give opportunities to writers all over the country. I want to thank the State Library and their team. Thank you so much, everybody. You have been a dream to work with tonight. Michael, Caitlin, Richie, thank you so much. And finally, of course, to the judges. Thank you, judges. And to the rest of you, thank you so much. I hope this night has inspired you to tell your story and come up on this mic and speak your truth. And I can't wait to see you again. Thank you. Good night.
Cause when you love someone, you open up your